go. This meeting is being live streamed. Yes, I got it.
Got it.
Good evening, Facebook Landia. Phoenix here with a special edition of Behind the Mask, episode 25. This social experiment in showing up raw, vulnerable, with all of the grit and grime that's sharpening me, growing me, expanding me. And tonight I've got a special guest, Lucine Eusani, one of my dear sisters, Wild Buffalo herd of two, we are. And yeah, we just recently had our compassionate care date a couple of days ago. Um, where we got together to sit by the fire and pray and journey, meditate, and journey inside with one another. And these monthly, um, dates that we share are some probably one of the most precious evenings of my life that I've had over the past couple of months. Just really being with someone who's so committed to doing the inner work and who so courageously keeps showing up to meet the grit and the grime that's forging her as well.
Mm,
It's a pleasure to get to do it alongside you, sister.
An honor. It's an
Mhm.
honor.
And I love that you're wearing Ragnar's hat tonight as
It was
your
part of my homework assignment
yeah,
from our work.
yes. I'm glad to see you
Doing my homework.
keeping up with your
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, so part of us showing up after our meditation is to really hold ourselves accountable and hold one another accountable and kind of showing up in this way to share some of the things that have been really working us. It feels like a really beautiful gift, not only to each other to integrate, but also to share with any of you who might feel inspired or touched or resonant with some of the quantumplations that we've had over these past couple of days and since our meditation. The theme tonight is breaking open through paradox. And yeah, I'd love you, Lucine, to just kind of, yeah, launch, babe.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple things just even when you're, explaining how it is and what we do, I think one of the things I say to people all the time is like, it's like when we sit in these ceremonies and get these big downloads, like it seems like that's like the work. But to me, like the real mastery place is then like integrating that into our lives, and we talked about that, the idea of what are the fruits that we take from this and how are we going to actually take it back into the world and make our lives differently, because otherwise really we're just on a trip, we're just on a head trip unless we're actually taking it back to create change in this level of consciousness. And so so I love this, because I think that that place that I meet in my own life, especially, when sitting in that space of the depths of, that just that whole idea that like, I can't shame or judge another person without actually doing that to myself. And like these kind of essential, profound spiritual truths that on some level, like we all know, and then how easy it is to walk out the next day and then just start judging, like, and that was some of our prayers that night. It was like, this is a prayer for the muggles. And it was like, because we're actually, you're me, because we're all in this paradigm of fear. And we're all afraid of someone, whether we're afraid of the people who are telling us to vaccinate, we're afraid of the people who are not vaccinated. We're all in this, somewhere in this polarity. and or we're afraid of the polarization, but it's like we're all hooked in somewhere. And I really got taken to these places of depths of my own fear and my own shame and my own all the things that I was kind of projecting onto others. And I just got to this place where I was like, I don't understand. This seems so fragmented, this seems so disparate, this seems so how am I ever going to integrate all this? And we just got to this point where it was like I touched into this feeling of grief, actually grief through feeling how someone that I love was suffering. And it was like this, it felt like there's this thread that opened back up for me, and I could just follow this thread. And it's like, oh yeah, love is the thread that can weave all of this polarization and polarity. Like if we can keep connecting back into our hearts. And I think that was the point where I remembered seeing this hat in your bathroom when I walked out from taking a shower that day, and it was just like, that's it. This is it. This is the answer. And so, my homework being like taking this out and wearing it and making my kids wear it, and making my partner wear it, and to keep going, oh yeah, like wake up again, wake up again, wake up again. And to me, that's the work, is having that insight or that awareness, but actually being in this world, walking in this world, and seeing myself triggered in fear, in confusion has been a real big one for me the last few days, and wanting so desperately to have clarity. And that's when we started talking about this idea that so often how we get to clarity is by polarizing. It's like, no, that's the truth, or like this is the truth. And it's like that part of me that longs for clarity just wants to be like, this is it, and those people are wrong, and this is like, that feels safe. And so that's, I think, where we got to this place of that whole idea of being able to hold space for paradox, to not try to cling to one of those, to keep us safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've got like here at the house, there's often like we've been journeying we've been journeying with this paradox pretty deeply, the six of us here at the house. And yeah, it's like that both end, the both end. And like, can we continuously allow ourselves to surrender into the both end? And that place is, it's not like one clear cookie cut answer for anyone. And like just constantly allowing ourselves to, yeah, it's almost like these polarities, these both ends are just like somehow almost like kneading some dough, just like
Mhm.
shaping something, shaping each of us. And I'm curious if it's even about having an answer, but just actually allowing ourselves to be shaped by the question.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
and I know right now, especially here in Australia and Melbourne, and in Melbourne in particular, like there are a lot of really big questions that are causing many of us, myself, yourself included, like a lot of stress, a lot of confusion. And yeah, like you said before we got on the call, like, I just wish I had a bandwagon, my own bandwagon, And it's like, but maybe this is kind of what this paradox is like inviting for
Yeah.
each of us, to like, what is, yeah, like, what is that individual kind of unique bandwagon that like allows me to feel like at home and at peace and in my center, no matter what, like answer, whatever I choose, like can I actually just allow that to be a place where I can rest into? And there's so much restlessness at the moment.
Yeah. I sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I feel that restlessness in myself and I feel that in the people around me. And yeah, when I start to kind of peek out into the like the bigger wider world, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, it's like that's a word I've been using a lot when people ask me how I am, is because it's so hard to choose a word. And it's like I've been saying unsettled. I feel unsettled, like, which to me feels like a similar feeling of just like that turbulence, or that, yeah, there's no, it doesn't feel like there's a safe space to just rest into, because it feels like also here the thing is constantly changing, the scenario is constantly changing, the rules are constantly changing, and it just like all of those feelings that, like, it doesn't feel like I can just rest into like this, I'm doing this, or this is my truth, or, and I really like what you said, because it actually reminds me of something that I've often said to clients in the past, who of course forget when it comes to myself, of like, maybe it's not even about the destination or like the thing that you think you're pursuing, the final outcome. It's who you have to become along the way. And there was something when you said that that was just like, oh yeah, like who who do we have to become in order to just hold space for this paradox within ourselves, within the people that we love? Like, what do we have to shed to allow that to happen, and to be with those feelings of unsettledness, without, yeah, feeling like we have to cling to or other, or which isn't, doesn't mean anything about, like, I fully get behind people who feel like they have a clear choice for themselves. Like, I'm cheering them on, which is that's different to me than like getting on a bandwagon and like, judging and shaming everyone else. But yeah, just that, what do we have to let go of, and who do we have to become to be able to just hold the tension of this paradox within us, and like be with the feelings of confusion, and the even like the contradictory feelings. Like, that's another one we were talking about right before, that getting on here, of not being able to say, with the announcement yesterday that like, oh, we have more freedoms and we can do these things. I can't even say I have one, like, I feel excited or I feel hopeful, or like, I do. I also feel anxious, and I also feel confused, and I also feel um almost like needing, almost like there's a part of me that's like, no, 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 just put me back into my box, because then I know, um just to be able to have all those feelings and not feel like I have to have one, like I have to be like, oh, now the restrictions are finished, so I feel great, like.
Yeah, I think it's really, yeah, you really, for me, that really lands deeply and it really, yeah, it really resonates. I feel the same. It's like talking to friends and it's like, yeah, yeah, just restrictions are ending soon. And it's like, yeah, great, awesome. Okay. Like, I don't, I don't know what I'm gonna do different yet. And I don't, and that pressure of like, should I be like, I was
Yeah.
driving today. I'm like, oh wow, I can like go camping and I can go like visit my friends in the city, and it's like, yeah, I don't know what I want to do, and like, can I just be with that, and rather than kind of feel like I should be, like you said, I should be excited. Like there is an excitement and there is an anxiousness and there is a confusion and there is a like distrust. Like, all right, how long are they going to keep us out for? Like, or, is this for real? Like, just so much kind of uncertainty and
Mm,
unsettledness. And
mm,
and for me, like, and I'll be honest, there's like an air of caution here. It's just like I don't want to get distracted by the kind of like, yeah, like, yeah,
mm,
like, yeah, I want to visit a friend and I want to move into that space with like a clarity inside of myself and with a settledness, or like a centeredness, I should say, and not from a just like, ah. I can, I will because I can. It's like
Mhm.
that also feels like some old pattern, like for me, from when I was a kid and like grew up in a really strict household like yourself, you know? It's like if I couldn't do something, I wanted to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when I could do it, it was like, oh, I'll just do it anyway because I can, you know? And it's now like, actually, well, what do I really want? What do I really want to do? Like, and can I give myself permission to just like ease in a way that feels like I'm still holding that space for myself, holding that space for myself and all of my feelings, you know? And like, if I have the impulse to go visit someone, allow that joy to be there. And maybe the anxiety of where, like, wow, I haven't seen you in a really long time. And it's like, oh, can I hug you now? Like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, awkwardness and just the not knowing. And yeah. And I don't want to get back to this, like, being broken open and what that has meant for you and what that's meant for me.
Mm.
I feel like there's a lot of gold in there, and I know that like witnessing you the other day in that moment of like letting yourself be broken open, I was like silently like yes, cheering you on because obviously you've witnessed the effect and the impact that being broken open has had on me when my father passed away and
Mm.
these past months and letting go of particular people in my life and yeah and I'd love to just hear some of what you have been gleaning from that, the power of allow and what do you even mean by that,
Mm.
how do we let ourselves be broken open by stuff?
Uh, I think, for me, part of it is seeing ways that I've protected um my heart from feelings that felt like too much. Like it would be too much to feel um this particular fear, or in that case, that was where I was really feeling that was around this idea of touching into through connecting to this love that I have for a dear friend, a dear sister, and then feeling her grief of losing her mother and going, oh my God, that's a part that I have just been so afraid of feeling, that depth of grief that I've just kind of like just distracted, I feel like, is like I've chosen not to look at it. Like there are things that I've just kind of chosen to go, yeah, that's there, and I'm just going to really separate myself. um and how, what really got me in that moment was seeing how that by doing that I also cut myself off from a deeper love that I, from being able to show up for people that I love. Because I couldn't let myself go there. I couldn't let myself, or I thought I couldn't let myself feel. Um, and it's almost like that whole kind of whatever that law of physics is, like for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, like that whole idea, like for that the feeling is like if I feel this grief, it's gonna destroy me, or it's gonna, like, I'm never gonna get out of that. And like my real felt experience is that when I actually break open the protections that kept me from feeling that, there's like a love that's kind of equal to that as well, that I'm in touch with. So
Yeah.
it actually doesn't destroy me. It kind of holds me together in a way. And I, I'm still very much on the journey with that. So I don't want to act like I've got that one sorted. Um
And yeah, like when I heard you speaking just now, it's like replace the word grief, like letting the grief break us open, like letting the fear break us open, letting the confusion break us open, letting the fucking anger break us open. It's like, in a sense, how much of our energy goes towards like holding our shit together, like holding ourselves together, because the fear or the concern that if we actually allow ourselves to feel the depth of the fear or the depth of the confusion or the depth of the anger, that it's going to just like, it's going to annihilate us.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm not going to acknowledge that I'm terrified right now because that's just too intense for me to bear. Yet I'm going to just make myself really sick with fear or with terror, but I'm not going to like acknowledge that it's actually there. Um, or like, I'm really confused. I have no idea. I'm like totally confused. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, but let me just like, you know, just
Taking steps.
around in fucking circles.
Wow.
Like just trying to hold myself together rather than just like allowing this like unleashing of my humanness, to let that break me open,
Mm.
whatever it is. Like, and like we've, spoken about several times, like, holding space is, what the body is designed for, like, and it's not holding this stuff in, like, it's not holding it together, like keeping our shit together. It's actually like allowing it to totally move through. The
Mm.
body in itself is the space holder. So can I just allow my body to do what it's designed to do, and allow these like the fear to move through, or the anger to move through, or the grief to move through? Like, this human design is so intelligent that it can like, it's been designed to feel these human emotions, and yet we've kind of like clamped down on them because they're too big, too intense to feel. And how much does that actually cause more polarization?
Mm.
And how much does that cause separation from like ourselves and the outside world, or ourselves and another person? Like, it's instead we kind of like judge, or we other like, but actually I'm just really fucking scared. So
Yeah.
I just be like, wow, I'm really terrified, and I'm going to let myself feel this, and maybe even I'll have the courage to have this conversation with the person that is kind of catalyzing this fear or this confusion or this like trigger in me, and allow that to be what connects me
Mm.
rather than separates me. And so, yeah, it's not fully formulated here either, but it's been such an inquiry for me, as just allowing myself to move through these emotions, like you were saying, and we've spoken about, like these waves,
Yeah.
and letting these waves carry us and like take us to the next. Like, rather than bracing against everything, how do we just allow these waves to move through us so that they can actually create more space for us to be in life,
Mm.
rather than so braced all the time? And if we allow that energy to move, I have a sense that clarity is almost like a natural result,
Yeah.
because I'm not so constipated full of fucking shit that I haven't been processing or moving. And I don't know like the answer. I just know that the more, for myself personally, the more I give myself permission to ride those waves rather than bracing against them, it's like, okay, yesterday I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken at the loss of a dear beloved, and then I let myself cry and like convulse and grieve the loss of this beautiful being. At least the perception of the loss, that was all just a drama and a story that I kind of went into as well, but I let myself go into it. And then this morning I woke up feeling like, ah, everything is going to be okay. I've
Mm.
got this. I've got this.
Yeah.
And how can that continue to like, um, yeah, ripple out into my life, into your life, into our lives, by giving ourselves permission to be broken open. But
Yeah, and I think for me personally, like listening to you talk, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like on some level I've got that familiarity or trust when it comes to I mean, again, not wishing to pretend that I'm in mastery, but like I've got that clarity about it when it comes to fear or anger or sadness to a certain degree. To me, the new kind of teaching place or exploration is about confusion, because I think I have a lot of judgment around the feeling of confusion, and I like real attachment to the feeling of clarity. And I do feel like that is part of the medicine of this time, or the whatever we want to call it, because again, it's still not a place that I'm like absolutely wholeheartedly like I love this, but it's I feel like it is part of what's happening. It's like there is no right answer, there is no like hell yes about this. And so in that, being able to navigate, like not clinging to certainty or not clinging to being right, like being able to take in other people's perspectives and hold space for that, like there's a way that it's putting me into a certain level of confusion that I have a lot of judgments around. Like I'm recognizing that much more than, having sadness move through or having anger move through. It's like,
Yeah, I hear you, babe.
and I'm
And
like, this needs to be done now. It needs to be done. Like,
almost
when's the end?
like we don't, like you were saying about the holding space, we don't, I guess, yeah, we don't. And this feels like a new for me, like even just hearing you say that, it's like, yeah, like we don't hold space for confusion. It's like it's one of those kind of bastard children that it's just like, oh, you're confused, like, oh, you don't know, oh, it's like almost confusion doesn't get any respect
Hmm.
at all.
Oh,
And
very.
and yet it's like through the portal of confusion is where we can't get to clarity. Like obviously we can get to clarity without confusion, but it's almost like allowing ourselves to move through the confusion and hold the space for it and letting that be what's shaping us. It's what's shaping us into like that clearer form or that clearer shape on the
That
other.
feels to me like a more essential or authentic clarity, because I feel like I could get to some kind of answer and like weave my way around my confusion. But there's like a deeper kind of clarity that I do feel like comes through acknowledging, again, like the paradox, acknowledging the yes, the both, and the like, yeah, I hear you, and yeah, I hear you, and yeah, I feel that, yeah, I feel that too. And it's like that more, I don't know what the word is for it, deeper or more aligned form of clarity does feel like it comes through a wave of acknowledging how complex and confusing and yeah, it's a new place for me, and it's actually a place that I feel like on some way I feel like our culture kind of needs that right now, because you know it's even like, it's that thing that I've heard people say that before around like leadership, that it's like people really judge leaders who like change their position or who change, but it's like, wow, so if we can't even allow our leaders to be in confusion, then how can they ever get to a place of authentic, like if they just have to be like, here's the answer, here's the truth, we know it, and it's like that's what we want in our leaders. I don't know, like what is that mirroring in us?
Yeah, yeah, and that's even like why we kind of tend to cling to like one particular right answer.
Hmm.
Like I'd rather just choose this thing rather than be in confusion. Like let me just stake my claim right here. This is what I know. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is the label that I'm gonna like cling to because not knowing is far worse.
Yeah.
And like yeah, what if we actually gave ourselves more permission to be in that space of not knowing? Like, in my, yeah, experience of what's going on right now, that would be way more authentic.
Hmm.
I feel like it would give a lot more permission to so many of us. And, like, just, yeah, like it's okay to not know, and it's okay to be confused. And and if it's okay to be confused, like, I can trust I can lean into this space, I can trust in this space, and that inevitably kind of finds its way, like it
Mm.
finds its way, like into alignment, into clarity. And yeah, yeah, I'm pretty into it. That one, that was just yeah, I'm gonna sit with that one. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you bringing that
Yeah.
in. It feels really, yeah, really potent and really empowering.
Mm. Well, I it's that thing. It's like it's coming through because it's the thing that I most resist. It's that whole like, yeah, I can go there and I can go there and I can go there, but like I can't go there. And it's like, okay, well, why not? Like that feels like, and again, it's that question of like all the things that who I need to become
Mm,
in order to hold space for confusion in myself and in others. Like all the things, the sharpness and the judgmentalness and the impatience and the
mm.
fear of scarcity, fear of missing out, fear of, missing my boat, like all of the things that I have to shed to just like sit with, ride that wave of like,
Yeah, and it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
And we just get more comfortable, within within the discomfort. Can we allow ourselves to just be moved by it? And like, yeah, there's just something in that. There's like a deeper intelligence in that that I want to learn to trust in. That like there's a bigger intelligence that's like not in my mind. And it's definitely not in like the minds of my leaders or like the government or though
Yeah.
there's a collective, there's an intelligence that happens. Yeah, again, I always refer to water, like it'll find its way, like you can watch it, it'll swirl, it'll spiral, it'll kind of be there for a moment, but then it finds its way and it finds its way back into the flow. And yeah, yeah, cool. Go confusion.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we've yeah, let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
do you feel complete for now?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Feels like that's it. That's the dance for now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know you're such
Mm.
a busy mama, and yeah, I'm really glad to see you yeah, kind of committing to the just staying with.
Yeah.
Stay,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I really appreciate this space because honestly, it is that whole thing of keeping myself honest to um taking this amazing practice that we have and bringing it into the world, bringing it into my life. So yeah, thank you for making the space to
Quality of life that is every other day of the month.
exactly.
Besides the one that we hang out with. So it's an ongoing big ceremony every day. Yeah, and you're doing great, and I'm doing great, and we're doing great. We're keeping each other honest, sister. So thank you so much.
Mm,
Love you. And bless our brother Ragnar.
God bless him.
Okay, darling. Have a beautiful evening.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.